Six Characters in Search of an Author is a play that goes from melodrama to modern drama and back again. It's a play about acting, about living and representing. It's about truth, reality, but most of all, it's about authority. Pirandello believed that truth came from authority. That's probably why he was a fascist. Six Characters in Search of an Author created Pirandello's international reputation in the 1920s and is still the play by which he is most widely identified. With originality that was startling to his contemporaries, Pirandello introduced a striking and compelling dramatic situation that initially baffled all audiences and critics. It had a great impact on later playwrights, particularly such practitioners of what was to be later described as the theater of the absurd. Writers such as Samuel Beckett, Eugene Ionesco, Jean Genet, Jean Anouilh, Jean-Paul Sartre. In 1920, Pirandello said of his own art, "I think that life is a very sad piece of buffoonery, because we have in ourselves, without being able to know why, wherefore, or whence, the need to deceive ourselves constantly by creating a reality, one for each and never the same for all, which from time to time is discovered to be vain and illusory. My art is full of bitter compassion for all those who deceive themselves, but this compassion cannot fail to be followed by the ferocious destiny which condemns man to deception." So what do we make of this play? What could this particular comedy about fictional characters stuck in a rut of never-ending story for want of an author do for us today? The central conflict between the actors and the characters is over which one of them is real. The very formulation of this conflict inverts the usual relationship between reality and fantasy. Both sides are trying to prove their reality in order to win the right to act out a fantasy. Indeed, the appearance of living, breathing characters challenges this binary form from the start. The father makes a succinct case for why he is more real than the actors or manager. Whereas people change every day, characters are eternal and unchanging. Pirandello also uses the theater itself to challenge the apparent division between fantasy and reality. Echoing the audience's likely reaction to the play, the actors and manager point out that they intuitively know that they are in the real world and the characters are in a fictional one. But the father argues that the very purpose of the theater is to bring fantasy to life, to challenge people's concepts of reality. Here's the useful point for this play. As I've mentioned before, we see or read plays so that we can gain insight into the human condition. And this idea of wrestling with the question of authority and reality is very much a part of our lives today. A casual look at the political rhetoric in the United States and the narratives that are being constructed on virtual platforms that suggest things that most of us know are completely false and designed to mislead and harm political opponents. These stories, these lies, come from places of authority. They come from political leaders. They come from corporations. They come from organizations that masquerade as news or infotainment. This play offers us an opportunity to be reminded that in order to live well in the world, we have to be so very diligent. We have to constantly take the critical perspective every time we read or see something. And we have to test it by studying multiple sources. This play says that the fiction is the real, as long as the fictional is authorized. Is that a world you want to live in?